Hello, and welcome to Culture Butter, where East and West melt. Today we're going to be comparing both Japanese culture and American culture, particularly what everyday life is like in both of these countries. Now, we can compare all the really fancy things and the special days in life, but I thought for our first video, we tried to focus in on what everyday life is like. Everyday life is rather mundane. So we're going to be talking about what is it like once you leave your front door and you start traveling, you start going to the store, going to work. What are people like when you see them out in public? What are the grocery stores like? What is everyday life like? I'm so happy that you decided to watch this today. My name is Ted, and this here is Usa.
Yeah. Hello.
We are both married, international couple. I'm obviously the husband. This is obviously the wife. She grew up in the countryside of Japan. Where particularly?
Yeah. My prefecture is Okayama. Okayama 出身です。
And I grew up, spent the majority of my life in Washington State, in the northwest corner of the country. For the Japanese viewers at home, you will recognize this as the state of, unfortunately, Starbucks. You've been in America now for about 3 or 4 months now. Why don't you go ahead and describe to the Japanese viewers at home, what would you say everyday life is like once you leave the front door of this house in America? Especially, how does it compare to Japan?
まず日本と違うところは人がいないね。日本には至るところに人がいるけれど、アメリカに来てからはあんまり歩いてる人見たことない。まあ危険だからあんまり歩くなって言われるから、あんまり散歩とかができないのがちょっと辛い。
I think it's very accurate. I've been to Japan many times. I've probably spent a total of a year and a half, maybe 2 years in total in Japan. And Japan is extremely busy with people in comparison to America. And the places I was at wasn't even major cities. It was more like in between. And it's just people, absolute people everywhere. But it's also kind of nice, because everyone dresses very well, very well. There's some great fashion. And because it's extremely safe in Japan, Japan is one of the safest countries on the planet. You can walk around freely without having to worry about anything.
そうだね。私もここに来てから日本の安全さに改めて認識させられた感じだね。日本人のアメリカのイメージってもっときらびやかで、こう、楽しい部分しか知らなかったから、こういう部分もあるんだって初めて気づいたね。あと、日本人のアメリカ人のイメージってものすごく、陽キャ。これは日本人が、持ってるアメリカ人の大雑把なイメージ。アメリカ人は陽気で、人と仲良くなるのが、早い。
Okay, so Japan has a stereotype that Americans are very friendly and they're able to talk to complete strangers. And they're able to make friends easily, or at least be friendly towards other people easily. Have you found this at all to be true?
まあこれは本当にステレオタイプというか、なんというか、まあ典型的なイメージ。でも今それは違うんだなって、インターネット上でちょっと分かり始めてる感じはあると思う。国は違っても人間は人間だからね。そりゃ陽気な人もいればそうじゃない人もいるし、社交的な人もいれば一人が好きな人もいるし。
Right, but please keep in mind, and also viewer at home, please keep in mind when we're talking stereotypes. We're talking averages. We're not talking about every single person. We're not talking about every Japanese person. We're not talking about every American person. We're just talking about on average, in whole, which is where stereotypes come from. Have you found that some people in America, more people in America, are more friendly towards strangers than in Japan?
公共の場では日本よりもアメリカの方がもちろん社交的だと思う。日本人は、なんというかやっぱり、独特の距離感がある。例えば客と店の店員だと、まあ、見知らぬ人同士だから、それこそ壁はあるよね。仲良くなってから壁は消えるけど、客と、スタッフなら、もちろん壁はある。でもそれは礼儀の壁であって、仲良くすることが悪いとかいいとかいう話じゃなくて、その距離感が礼儀になるの、日本では。正直言って、日本人の全てができているわけではないけど、お客さんも店員にある程度の敬意は払わなければいけないし、店員ももちろんお客さんに敬意を払わなければいけない。それが距離感。
So what you're saying is that in Japan, it would be seen as rude or unprofessional if the staff at a store was too friendly and too open with the customer.
時にはそれがいいっていう人もいるけどね。まあ、でも、that's right. 時にはそれがいいっていう人もいるけどね。でも、やっぱり、客に対してなんだその態度はっていう人はいる。俺はお前の友達じゃないぞって言ってくる人はいる。お客さんがね。お客さんがそれを言う。お客さんがもし、ものすごくフレンドリーに接してきたら、それはそれでスタッフが困るだろうな。
What kind of problems do you think it would cause with the staff if the customer was too friendly?
仲良すぎると？それは、例えば、仲良くなりすぎると、喋り始めるでしょ？喋り始めると、仲がいいと話が弾むよね。話が弾むと、そのお客さんのみにフォーカスしちゃうわけ。それは良くないよね。一人のお客様にずっとかかりきりになったら他のお客さんがおざなりになるよね。
I can understand that. So what you're saying is that if you become too friendly, well, then it slows down business. And maybe you become more friendly with some people than others. And that means that the other people get worse service.
そういうこと。やっぱり日本は、仕事のクオリティを重視しがちというか、まあ、しがちって悪い意味じゃないけど、日本は仕事の質を重視するから、それだとクレームが起こる可能性がある。ね。アメリカではそれはないの？逆に。
Yes, I find that when it comes to customer service in America and when it comes to the speed of service, Americans don't value speed quite as much as Japanese people do. The Japanese are extremely efficient at work. I know Japanese people at home might not be able to see that, but coming from a foreign perspective, when I watch Japanese people work, they work extremely fast and non-stop in comparison to Americans. And Americans, I think, value more than just speed.
スピード以上のものって何？
So I'll say this. I think when it comes to Americans, they value the connection that they make with other people. They value that connection that they make where you talk to somebody and you actually really connect with someone, even if it's just small talk. Small talk means talking about little things like the weather, or maybe how your favorite baseball team is doing, or something that's more safe to talk about. So I think when it comes to stores, or maybe even banks, or other jobs where the staff interact with customers, there's a certain sense that a lot of people want that kind of connection. So much so that Americans also, I think, more than Japanese, Americans also make connection with complete strangers sometimes. When you're just walking down the road, even though we don't walk down the road very often, or maybe coming in and out of the store, or other little moments where you run into people, I think you're more likely to find Americans making genuine, small connections with other people. And I think, for example, I think when let's say somebody works a very long and stressful day at work, wherever they happen to work. They then, it's the end of the day, they need to go buy some groceries. I think being able to go to a grocery store that you've gone to maybe for a long time, and you've seen the same workers there for a long time now, and every day you have a little bit of a connection, and they might even know you by first name at this point. Hi, Steve, how are you doing today? Oh, getting a few beers, huh? You gonna watch the game tonight? Oh, that's great. It's that connection of feeling like somebody cares about you. I think they care about that. Some people, not everyone, of course. Some people care about that more so than speed. But you will find the complete opposite, of course. Some people just want to get in and they want to get out. And sometimes the cashier that's helping you pay for the groceries, they'll be talking to someone else, and the person that's waiting in line is in a hurry. He's angry. They're talking. So
何回か見たことあるわ、それ。
Yeah. So it becomes very difficult to know how many people want that, how many people don't want that. But I feel like Americans kind of like to slow down just a little bit and talk.
なんというか、アメリカ人はその自身の周りの空気を大事にする感じで、日本人は全体を意識してるからこういう文化の違いが生まれたんだろうか。
So what you're saying is Japan focuses more on the needs of everyone else rather than their own needs. Yes, Japan is a collective society, and America is an individual society. It's very well known.
そして私はどっちもそれは悪いと思わないね。
Oh. Okay. You feel like you're more individual than an average Japanese person?
私が？え？
Okay, I'll say this for example. I feel like I am more Japanese than the average American. And that's not an insult to American people. I think it's a matter of personal preference, which one you prefer. So I kind of wondered if you view yourself as slightly more American than the average Japanese person.
全然思ってない。
Okay. So with that in mind, you've moved from a collectivist society to an individual society. Has that been hard for you?
正直その違いによって苦しんだことがない。
Okay. So I noticed when I would travel through, when I'd walk the streets of Japan, that sometimes Japan is so beautiful that it feels like I'm walking through a movie set. It feels like not real life. I feel like there's a movie being filmed and I've stumbled into it, and there's actors everywhere. And for the people that have gone to Japan that are not from Japan, please leave a comment down below if you have felt that way ever. It's not always that I feel like that, but every once in a while I'm like, how can a country be this pristine? It's insane. And I find America to be the reverse opposite of that. And that's part of your everyday life because you're just traveling from one place to another. But all of a sudden, you're in a movie set.
これは私の個人的な意見で、そうだと決めつけるものではないと思って聞いてほしいんだけど、やっぱり日本人はさっきも言ったように全体を考えるから。で、一番大事なのは自分が普通であること。でもアメリカ人は自分を大事にするじゃない。日本人が自分を大事にしてないという意味じゃなくて、日本人は周りの意見に振り回されるわけよ。よく。全員がそうじゃないけど、私もそうだけど、周りの評価や意見が気になるんだよね。だから、やっぱり礼儀とか、これをするのは常識的ではないとか、そういうのを考えて行動するから。例えば、ゴミをポイ捨てするのは悪い人がすることだっていう 考えがあるから、ゴミはちゃんとゴミ箱に捨てる。そんな感じ。アメリカ人がポイ捨てするっていう意味じゃなくてね。
So I don't think you have to worry about offending or bothering American people. They can take criticism pretty well. And so American viewers will not watch this video and say, this woman right here said that we all litter. How dare she? I don't think that's how they're going to take it. So you don't have to worry about that. It's just not how Americans are wired most of the time. But I have noticed that part of this collectivism is not littering, like you said. And yes, that's part of it. Like you walk around, there's no litter anywhere. There's no trash on the street. The streets are extremely clean. I've talked to people from other countries outside of America and outside of Japan who have made reference to like, I can't believe how clean the streets are in Japan. But it goes further than just not littering, because I've noticed that if I go out, back my first few years I went out there, I'd go to Shibuya very late at night, overnight, and have fun. I wouldn't do anything too crazy. But I would notice, like, as the night would go on, Japanese people would puke on the sidewalk. And then come 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, older Japanese women would come out with bleach water and clean the puke water with the puke with bleach water. Like in no world would an American ever even think about cleaning up someone else's puke on the sidewalk.
Maybe, たとえそれが店の前でも、自分の持ってる店の前だったとしても、そこが自分の土地内だったとしたら、日本人は絶対きれいにするね。
Maybe some extreme, like sometimes American business owner, if they have a problem right outside of their store, they may take care of it, but nothing like what I've seen in Japan. Like the local business owner keeps the sidewalk outside of their business fairly spotless.
市でやってる清掃活動とかもあるからね。日本は。区とか市ごとに清掃活動をする機会がある。その住民たちが集まってね。まあそんな毎回、そんな頻繁ではないけど。
I've heard some people in America say that this comes from the fact that Japanese children have to clean their school every day. So every day at school, the Japanese students will be the one to clean up the school, something that doesn't happen in America. Yeah, so in comparison, American kids, they don't generally have to clean the school. I mean, it's very difficult for me to know what is real and what's not real. Sometimes misinformation about Japan is reported on the internet. There's many incorrect information that I've seen in videos, but it does seem that Japanese kids, they really do the majority of the cleaning at school, as compared to American kids, which no, there's staff for that. Someone gets paid to do that, not the kids. But people think that maybe this is part of the reason why Japanese people, their whole life, believe that it is their job to clean up all messes around them, including, well, the sidewalk outside of your store, but probably the property around your house, probably just about everywhere.
それが全てではない。やっぱり親が自分の家をきれいにしていたとか、前例があるからでしょうね。子供たちが大人になって自分もそれをするっていう、ただそれだけのこと。親が家をきれいにしていた。親が自分の家というくくりを自分の家の土地っていうくくりで見てるから、自分の家の土地をきれいにすることが自分の家をきれいにするっていうことなんだっていうふうに考えている。ただそれだけのことだと思う。学校に限ったことではない。もちろんそれも一因ではある。
So, I think that's a big part of it. A big part of why Japan, walking around in Japan seems so pristine and so much like a movie set is everything, because of the reasons that we talked about, is extremely clean and extremely organized. On top of that, Japanese people are considerably more fashionable than people in Washington State. Now, fashion in America changes from location to location. If you look at Seattle in the 1990s, Japanese people, you might recognize the name Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain was the lead singer of the band Nirvana, and he started the grunge movement, grunge music. And part of grunge is it's about embracing being dirty, embracing the filth. Okay, and not to a ridiculous level, but the music was not clean. It was not polished. It was not very well orchestrated. It was lots of yelling and screaming and thrashing,
like rock,
like rock, but it was like dirty rock, you know, like it was, yeah. So, but not just the music itself, but also if you look at the fashion that came from Seattle at that time, the fashion was also grunge. It was kind of dirty. It was kind of not well kept. And it became very popular in the 90s because of him. So it kind of, in its own way, became fashionable. Ironically, anti-fashion became the fashion. And now there's still a lot of that left over in Washington State. I haven't been to all of the states. In fact, I haven't even been to the majority. But everywhere I've been so far, fashion seems to be better elsewhere than Washington. But it's kind of nice. It's kind of freeing. You don't have to worry about fashion. You don't have this stress of like, oh, I better dress nicely. People are going to be looking at me. People are going to be judging me. I'm not going to be popular. Right? All these things, the stress of the judgment from others doesn't really exist. So that does come with its own nice side. But you do have places even now, like certain areas in California, which are very fashionable, very high-end clothing, clothing needs to be new, it needs to be pristine, it needs to be perfect. Compare that to Japan, and I find that I've been in Japan, and I've been in some of the malls that I've walked through in Japan. Everyone is dressed so nice in comparison to me that I feel like a homeless person.
No. You're not.
Right, but that's how I feel. That's the cultural difference.
まあ日本人すべてがファッションが好きなわけではないけど、まあ日本人はファッションを楽しんできている。私もファッションは好きな方だけど、そうだね。アメリカに来てからスカートが履けなくなった。
No? Why can you not wear skirts in America?
だってスカート履いてる人だっていないもん。
Oh.
目立つじゃん。
That's very Japanese to not want to stand out.
でしょ
？Well, you are in America now, though. You can not stand out if you want to. In fact, I don't know if you know this. Standing out in America is encouraged.
I don't want.
I can understand that a large part of you will always be Japanese, and that's perfectly great. But maybe over time, you will be willing to stand out slightly more as time goes on.
私がここに来て4、5ヶ月経つけど、なんか変化あった？
I think you will become more and more Americanized as you stay here. I think a large reason why Japanese people are the way that they are is because they are constantly afraid of judgment from everyone else at all times. And when you finally walk away from that judgment, you slowly feel the freedom to be able to relax a little and live the way you want to live.
まあ日本人にとってそれは結構難しいだろうね。まあでも変われる人は変われるのかな。
I have, over the years, I've noticed that Japanese people who have spent a sizable amount of time in America have, if they've spent at least maybe 6 months to preferably a year and a half or more, in America, they've had a permanent personality change. And sometimes I feel like I can spot them in Japan very quickly. So I think the longer you spend time in America, the more you will have at least some personality change that will be noticeable. And of course, the same is true of me. I mean, I've spent about a year and a half in total, somewhere between a year and a half to 2 years in Japan, especially also by just spending my time with you and being married to you. Japan is rubbing off on me as well. That's bound to happen. And none of this is good or bad. It is just what it is. I don't think Japanese culture is better or worse. I don't think American culture is better or worse. But it is different, that's for sure.
そうだね。I agree. 正直、インターネットでしか知らない情報だったら、アメリカ人こそファッショナブルだと思ってた。めっちゃファッションに気を使う人たちばっかりだと思ってたけど、そういうわけでもないんだな。まあ、たまにじゃないな。まあ、T シャツとジーパンがアメリカ人のイメージっていう典型的なイメージももちろんあるんだけど、インターネットから流れてくるアメリカ人ってみんなキラキラしてるんよね。本当に T シャツとジーパンでびっくりするよね、逆に。
Is the T-shirt and jeans, is that a good fashion or is that a bad fashion?
いい悪いではない。似合ってるからいい。
Oh, okay. What I'm asking is, Japanese people have a vision of Americans, of how they imagine Americans are like when it comes to their fashion. Do they imagine T-shirts and jeans, or do they imagine something more fashionable?
半分半分。半分半分。だって、昔からの固定されたイメージはやっぱり T シャツ、ジーンズ。でも、それでもかっこよく見えるのはやっぱりアメリカ人の体型だよね。足が長くて、背が高い。だから、ダサく見えない。でも日本人がそれをやると、全員じゃないけど、たまにダサくなる人もいる。私もそうだけど。なんていうか、やっぱ体型の違いによって、それが生まれるから、それをカバーするためのファッション。自分の体型を生かすためのファッションを自分で見つけるから、そういうファッションがどんどん進化していったんだと思うよ。日本は。で、アメリカ人が最近、なんだろう、やっぱり、TikTok とか、YouTube とか、いろいろ SNS があるじゃない。その中で発信するのってやっぱりいいことが多いんだよね。だからキラキラしたものを発信することが多くなるから T シャツ、ジーパンのイメージの他にキラキラしたイメージが固定するんだと思うよ。そういうものが人気が出るからやっぱり。
How can I put this? So Japan has an image of America, and it seems that they generally have a good image of America. But I think this comes from Hollywood. I think Hollywood is a weapon. Hollywood is a propaganda machine. Hollywood sends its image out, the American image out to the rest of the world. I really think that's the case. I think Hollywood sends this imagery of this is what America is like out to the rest of the globe. And so the rest of people from other countries, they watch Hollywood movies and they think, wow, Americans are so cool. Wow, Americans are so fashionable. Wow, Americans look like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Right? Right. And no, we don't. No, we don't at all. There's only
それはでも初めのきっかけでしょ。今は SNS でしょ。
Yes, I agree. Now it's also, and maybe more importantly, social media. But of course, in social media, everyone wants to look as attractive as possible. Because let's face it, attractive people get views, right? And so what you get greeted with, especially like, unfortunately, TikTok, Instagram, it's both TikTok and Instagram, they show you what you watch the most of. And what you're going to watch the most of is really attractive people. So Japan gets flooded with Ooh, attractive Americans,
Yeah.
fashionable and fashionable and attractive. Oh, wow, she needs to put some clothes on. Huh? Attractive. Okay. So yeah, very much, I dare say, I feel like Hollywood was more purposefully propaganda.
そうだね。そうだね。
That's my personal opinion. Is part of the purpose of Hollywood is to send an image of America out to the rest of the planet, and I do feel like that's somewhat purposeful. But of course, TikTok, Instagram, that's just people trying to get views. So there's some attempts by world governments to use social media to sway the opinions of the public. But I feel like that's a drop in the bucket. That's a small percentage of just people making content on social media. So it's less of a propaganda machine right now. But I can understand why Japanese people, between Hollywood, between TikTok and social media, they give a certain image of Americans, and is not going to come true. I'm sorry, Japanese people. It's not going to.
でも全てがフェイクなわけではないじゃん。事実は事実じゃん、それは。それはそれで事実だから、やっぱりそこに憧れてしまうのが日本人ですね。
Well, I mean, everyone's attracted to attractive people.
No.
But I can't help but feel that Japanese people getting their opinions of what America is like based upon Hollywood is the same as Americans getting their opinion of what Japan is like based upon anime.
そうね、最近ますます。
People like to mock Americans sometimes who get their opinion of Japan based upon anime because anime and Japan are two extremely different things.
そうだね。あれはファンタジーです。
So if Japanese people got their opinions of what America is like based upon watching Brad Pitt, then they would think that everyone in America is very attractive and very fashionable. But if Americans got their opinion of Japan based upon anime, well, let's not go into that, huh?
どっちもファンタジーってことでいいのかな？
Oh, they're both fantasy, of course. But you watch anime and you watch movies because you want fantasy. You don't want real life. No one wants to watch an hour and a half long movie about filing your taxes.
まあ、たまに現実的な恋愛映画とかだったら見たいっていう人はいるよ。まあ、現実から逃げるために、そういうものに憧れてしまう。逃げるためじゃないな。現実から目を背けたいからそっちに憧れてしまうというか、浸水してしまうっていうのはあるかもしれないね。
Yes, I feel like most people watch movies or TV shows to escape real life, which there's nothing wrong with that. So, but let me ask you, we should probably start wrapping up this video a little bit, coming to an end. What is one or more things that you like so far about America that's different in America compared to Japan?
アメリカ何でも機械使う。バーベキューマシンとか。日本にはないよ、あんなすごいバーベキューマシン。びっくりした。あとは、なんか、なんだろうな。でも、セントラルヒーター。セントラルヒーター日本にはないからね。あれあったらいいのにね、日本にもね。羨ましいな、あれ。日本はただエアコン一つで暖房と冷房切り替えるからな。あれすごい欲しい、日本に。なんでないんだろうな。やっぱ外気の変化が日本はすごい激しいけど、アメリカはそんなにないから、そこもいいよね。まあただ、トイレは日本の方がいい。日本のトイレ恋しい。いつか TOTO のトイレ買って。
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here. What really matters is Japan has the best toilets on the planet. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching our videos. For the Japanese people, please leave your thoughts and your comments down below in Japanese. We will do our best to translate it and get back to you. And for English-speaking people, also leave your comments down below. If you spent some time in Japan, and you're not from Japan, what did you think? Please tell me in the comments down below, what did you think about everyday life in Japan? And Japanese people, I think there's less and less Japanese people who have been to America in comparison to American or other English-speaking people who have gone to Japan. So Japanese people, please leave your questions down below for American culture, and we'd be glad to get back to that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.
Bye bye.